Now let's conclude or at least conclude the first half of the show with the Indiana Hoosiers. Their 2021, they were 2-10, 0-9 in the Big Ten. They were last in the Big Ten East. They were 124th in total offense in the country, 71st in total defense. Their notable departures it'd probably be better for us to just name who's coming back, because lose quarterback Michael Penix Jr. They lose all four leading rushers, including Stephen Carr. They lose linebacker Micah McFadden, which was the heart of that defense. They lose a lot of firepower. And so when I'm looking at a player to watch, it's kind of tough for the Indiana Hoosiers. I'm going to go with, you know what, whoever starts at quarterback for the Hoosiers. And the reason why I can't name a specific person is because Coach Tom Allen said, you know what, we're not going to make that announcement until game time. So I was like, dope, that's sick. Everyone cares about this quarterback battle that you've got going on right now. There are
Who's going to lead IU to a 2 or 3 win season?
Right, exactly. A lot of new faces in that offense, so any improvement will come from the most important position on the field. It's between senior quarterback Jack Tuttle, who last year completed 52% of his passes for 423 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5 picks, and then junior transfer from Mizzou, Connor Bazelak. He completed 65% of his passes for 2,548 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions in 2021. If I'm putting on, my coach hat, which obviously I'm very far from that, I would say Bazelak is probably going to be it, I would imagine, because I don't know. I feel like that's the obvious choice, and so maybe to, still create some mystery, some game planning mystery going into week 1 against Illinois, you say, we don't know who it is, so they game plan for both. Because
my guess is if it's this wide open, they haven't announced it yet, Connor Bazelak is not performing the way they had hoped.
Maybe not, but I just think that, like, he would, from looking at the numbers at least, and of course we haven't been, like, at camp or anything, but, like, the numbers for me, and I mean, maybe it's also because he's not maybe acclimated to the system yet, maybe, that Tom Allen had. I don't know. Who knows? But I would say...
I don't even know what Tom Allen's system is. I don't think anybody knows. But let's just be honest.
But yeah, that's what I would guess. My vote is Connor Bazelak. But who knows?
You would think.
IU, and that, believe it or not, IU at the quarterback position for a while there was actually pretty decent. I mean, they were 14-7 from 2019 and 2020. They spent some time in the top 25. They were 4th in 2019 in QBR, 7th in 2020 in the Big Ten. And then they went 2-10 last year, one of the worst offenses in college football last season, and they were last in the conference in QBR. So a better season.
Also, they had a lot of injuries at quarterback last year when they had to emergency start Donovan Mcauley at quarterback ahead of schedule. That was so bad. Donovan Mccauley switched to wide receiver. He said, "Nope, never doing that again."
But yeah, I do think a better 22 for IU starts under.
Yeah, for me, the offensive player I'm looking at for IU. Well, look, first off, when the Big Ten Network guys go to your camp and one of them gets on his TikTok and he does breakdowns of all the teams that he's seen, and he comes out and says, IU fans, based on what I've seen, it's going to be a rough year. Just
no optimism whatsoever.
No, none. I mean, he put this IU and Rutgers in the same category of, oof, yikes. Hold on. And actually Northwestern, he put Northwestern in there as well. So for the fact that Northwestern's 1-0, but I'm looking at Donovan Mccauley. I mean, this is a guy that he's an amazing athlete, former Indiana Mr. Football, was a quarterback out of high school, and, had to be put in last year basically ahead of schedule. He's going to be a big target for them. And typically when you see these guys at IU that are bigger targets, they typically perform pretty well. We're looking at Ty Freifogel. Oh, I can't remember there's a couple from the past that have been have been pretty good targets that are tough guys to beat. So I'm looking at him to have a good season. I mean, a good season is relative when you're looking at the outlook for this entire team. So, but he's definitely a player to watch because I think when you look at the ups and downs IU has had over the past year, Donovan Mccauley kind of stands out as okay, let's see how he does and how he's acclimated now to this because for a while there it was like, man, is he even going to stick around this program? And he did. He made the move. So I'm watching him.
Peyton Hendershot, I think, was another guy that was pretty
Yeah,
good
but
for
he was
them.
a tight end. He was
Right.
a tight end.
That
I'm
is
looking
true.
at wide receivers.
Yeah. There's another guy too that I'm like blanking on names. I'm like, I know these names, but
Man, there was one guy that played. I mean, this was a long time ago.
Antoine Randall.
Well, no, he was a quarterback,
I
but
know, I know, I know.
I'm thinking he was a wide receiver. He played for the James Hardy.
Yeah. I remember that. Looking at defense, I'm gonna go with linebacker senior Cam Jones. This is less, although this is less about replacing Micah McFadden and more about being an anchor in the front seven. Um, let's see here. Like Google Docs was being weird on me. He's the leading tackler from the last season amongst returnees with 63. Third on the team last season. He also had a sack, 2 pass deflections, and a fumble recovery. IU lost a lot of their defense. IU brought a lot of their defense for this season through the transfer portal in defensive tackle J.H. Tevis from Cal, defensive end Miles Jackson from UCLA, linebacker Bradley Jennings Jr. from Miami. They also recruited edge linebacker Dasan McCullough, who's the highest ranked member of IU's incoming class. So they've got a lot of new faces. Tom Allen's a defensive minded guy. If they want to get that defense in better shape, which, can't do much worse than they were last season, they're going to need a guy like Cam Jones to step up, get these guys acclimated, be that leader, that veteran leader on that defense. So he's not going to only have to produce as a defender, but he'll also have to produce as a leader. So that's why I'm looking at Cam Jones as far as defensive player to watch for them.
So I'm looking at their secondary. Their best player on the entire team is cornerback Taiwan Mullen. He returns, and he's the best bet for somebody to be on the All Big Ten team. I feel like for IU. I mean, he's legit talent. So I'm really looking for him to be that focal point on the IU defense this year. It's really tough though if your defensive leader is in the secondary because he can be so far wide out or deep, and it's a little difficult, especially if it's a corner. But I'm looking for him to have a good year because he will definitely be the guy on every team's number one target. And with the division that IU plays in, you're going to see him on Jackson Smith and Jigba. You're going to see him on whether it be Brock Thompson or whoever is the number one wideout for Purdue at that time. So his name's going to be called a lot. Or actually, if you're an IU fan, you are hoping his name is not called a lot. Because if you're not hearing his name on a broadcast, that means he's doing his job really well. So I'm keeping an eye on him.
Now, looking at their schedule, they open up on Friday with a game against Illinois. They then host Idaho and Western Kentucky before they end September at number 23 Cincinnati. In October, they're at Nebraska. They will then host number 8 Michigan. They host Maryland, and then they go to Rutgers. And then in November, they've got Penn State at home. They'll be at number 2 Ohio State, at number 15 Michigan State, and then they will finish the season with Purdue for the Old Oaken Bucket. So their over-under record prediction for DraftKings is 4 wins. And it's just a flat 4 wins. They don't give you the half. They don't do anything like that. And I am going with the under. I could see the Hoosiers starting 3-0 and then losing 9 straight. Realistically, they beat Idaho, they beat Western Kentucky, but lose to Illinois. That's how I have it going. But they could theoretically start 3-0. They do lose their games versus ranked opponents. They lose to Cincy, Michigan, Ohio State, and Michigan State. I have them losing to Penn State and Purdue as well. Their big toss-ups are at Nebraska, Maryland, and at Rutgers. I think that they could win one of those games. So I'm gonna go 3-9 for the Hoosiers. I think it's kind of like like you could say that for any team as far as like you're gonna win one you shouldn't, you're gonna lose one you shouldn't. So yeah, I think they'll win one of those games that I think they could potentially lose, and then they're gonna win one, or they're gonna lose one I think they could win. So I got them. I think 3-9 for the Hoosiers is a safe bet. It's technically an improvement from last season. I think they go 3-9 on the season.
Yeah, I'm taking the under as well. When I look at their schedule, I do believe they start off 0-1. Illinois is a much improved team. Brett Bielema has the Illini pointed in the right direction finally, which is more than you can say about IU. I don't think they're pointed in the right direction. I think they're trying to find that direction still. Idaho, yeah, they get a win there. Western Kentucky could be interesting. It depends on how IU has meshed together, especially at the quarterback position. I mean, Western Kentucky, who knows there? I'm going to say that's a win. Cincinnati, no, that's a loss. Nebraska, who knows with that one? You're right. That's a toss-up one. I'm going to say it's a loss. Nebraska, I think Nebraska is better than the team that lost to Northwestern. Michigan, it's a loss. Maryland, I'm going to say that's a loss. Rutgers is a win. I think they are better than Rutgers, at least defensively. Penn State is a loss. Ohio State's a loss. Michigan State's a loss. And Purdue's a loss. So I have them 3-9 as well.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised to see 2-10.
Yeah.
I would not, honestly, I could honestly see them going over in the Big Ten as well.
So I thought you're going to say 0-12. I was like, picking the Idaho Vandals to get the win. Hey,
they have enough talent, especially defensively. They got talent defensively, which is good because Tom Allen is a defensive-minded coach, I guess. I don't know. I think from what you're hearing is that a lot of the IU faithful are also getting kind of sick and tired of the Tom Allen shtick of Leo. And then he boots players from the team because he just doesn't want them around anymore, not because they were bad. And then they go to like Purdue and play really well.
Right.
So it's like, oh, love everyone or whatever that is, whatever Leo means. Yeah, I think they're getting a little tired of it. And I think if push comes to shove and they end up letting Tom Allen go at the end of the year, they need to go hire somebody that's not a high school football coach.